The first question has a time limit of 1 minute. Quasula. If you are elected to a seat on the tribal council, what would your number one priority be and why?
Well, first, let me introduce myself. I am Quasula, running for tribal candidacy. And I'll go ahead and answer your question. If elected, my number one priority would be strengthening our community's economic sovereignty. That means investing in tribally owned enterprises like sustainable agricultural, renewable energy, or cultural tourism. That creates local jobs while honoring our traditions. And why is because self-determination directly impacts every other priority, like funding for our language preservation, healthcare, housing, and youth programs all depend on a resilient, independent revenue base. Without economic sovereignty, we remain vulnerable to outside pressures. With it, we can make our own choices about our land, our children's futures, and our cultural survival.
Question number 2. Quasula. What qualities do you have that make for a good tribal council member?
I think to make a good tribal council member, you have to listen deeply. I don't just hear words. I seek to understand my elders, our youth, and our working families, and those whose voices often get overlooked. I have long-term thinking, grounded in tradition. I balance respect for our ancestral ways with practical solutions for today's challenges, like economic development that doesn't sacrifice our values. Another trait I feel is courage to act with integrity even when it's hard. I'll always speak the honest, even when it's not, shown upon. I act with honesty, and I understand and keep a balance with, without leaning too far into one side. And that's with balancing our community and always keeping them and their voices heard.
The third question, also a 1 minute time limit. Quasula. What do you think could be done to better support the youth of the Hualapai tribe?
First, I like to focus on culturally grounded mentorship. Cultural Resources already does this, but I'd support teaching the language, traditional crafts, and land stewardship, which builds identity and purpose. Another thing is pathways to future opportunities, creating internship programs with tribal enterprises. GCRC used to do this, but I want to rebuild it or revitalize that. Or create similar internships with ranching operations. I'd support college or trade schools through expanded scholarships and distance learning infrastructure. And one thing too I'd like to stand upon is our youth mental health. That's something that wasn't really spoken about growing up, and I want to make sure that we're emotionally aware.
Question number 4, a 1 minute time limit. Quasula. What could be improved to make the lives of elders in our community better?
Oh, I love that question. So I'd support funding to expand caregiver support and regular shuttle services to local towns for medical appointments, groceries, and social gatherings. Also bring a reliable home care and transportation. A lot of that will help reduce isolation. Second is elder-friendly housing repairs, creating a tribal program for quick fixes like ramps, handrails, heating and cooling, and leak repairs so elders can stay safe in their own homes. I think Elder Services already does this, but I'd support those in funding requests. Honoring our elders' roles as teachers, paying stipends for elders to lead language classes, storytelling, and traditional crafts with the youth. That restores dignity, preserves knowledge, and rebuilds the cross-generational bonds that keeps our tribe strong. Our elders raised us, so it's always good to hear their voice too.
Question number 5, a 2 minute time limit on this one. Quasula. What is your understanding of the current status of the Hualapai Tribe Water Rights Settlement Act of 2022?
Again, thank you for this question. The Hualapai Tribe Water Rights Settlement Act of 2022 is signed law, but it faces a funding deadline. The status is signed by President Biden on January 5th of 2023. It resolves our water rights claims in Arizona and authorizes 4,000 acre-feet of Colorado River water annually. That's 1.3 billion gallons. The act authorizes a $312 million trust fund to build the pipeline delivering water to our community. Even though the law is passed, Congress still has appropriated the funds by April 15, 2029. If the trust fund isn't fully funded by then, the settlement can be repealed and we start all over with the negotiations. It is currently in the Hualapai Moving Forward bundle, and the tribe is requesting $65 million for our fiscal year 2026 to keep the project on track. Without these appropriations, we cannot complete NEPA environmental studies or begin construction, leaving us dependent on depleting groundwater wells. And this is the difference between, I think, in Indian country when they bring up their water rights. Like I said, we're already on the bill. It is already public law, and that is the big difference. We're not trying to, the big fight is already fought. We're just waiting for our funding.
The final question, a 2-minute time limit. Quanah, what do you know about the Hualapai tribe's master plan, and how do you feel about the progress so far?
From my understanding, it is at a 20-year blueprint adopted in 2023 to guide everything from housing and land use to economic growth while protecting our cultural heritage. It's what we want to see on our reservation in the next 20 years. On the positive side, the Hualapai Moving Forward initiative is actively delivering real projects based on this plan. We are seeing shovels in the ground, like the new recreation park, which is coming up on its 1-year anniversary on July 4th. And the paving of Youth Camp Road. The tribe was also awarded a $23 million grant for the Diamond Creek Railroad overpass. That is a massive safety win. And our preliminary environmental work for the water rights pipeline to come from the river has begun. We are finally moving ahead. The master plan includes a new tribal administration building and the Truxton Aquifer well to secure Peach Springs water. While design is progressing, these are critical for our sovereignty and our daily resilience. My honest assessment is the progress on community assets like the park is excellent, but the pace on core infrastructure, which is roads and water, is still too slow given the 2029 water settlement deadline. If elected, I will fight to ensure the master plan's priorities match our budget, specifically accelerating the water, infrastructure, and road paving projects that directly impact your daily lives and economic development. I stand for sovereignty through action, turning plans into real results. I'll prioritize economic self-determination, honoring elders as teachers, and supporting youth with real pathways, and urgently delivering water security and infrastructure. I'll respect tradition as I move forward.
Thank you, Quanah.